Hey, Divine Ones. Hey, Divine Ones. I'm Jerome Braggs, the intuitive that teaches you how to travel the path to self-love, to true healing and delicious living. Today, I want to continue on with the video I did, the last video I did. So I think this is video number 9 in my 30-day video challenge. In the last video, I talked about how I manifested kidney failure. That was part 1. This is going to be part 2 because there's some things I didn't get to share in that last video that I definitely want to address here. So in the last video, I talked about that there were kind of 3 core energies that led to the manifestation of kidney failure for me, which were exhaustion, deprivation, and bondage or suppression. And that I felt, very suppressed. I felt imprisoned. I felt unhappy. I felt unfulfilled. And I felt very, very tired chronically throughout my life, which led me to the manifestation of disease. Because again, disease is just an external reflection of your internal energy that you've been holding for a while. So chronic disease is just the external manifestation of a chronic energy that you've been holding. And from that, I want to continue on with this so I can share these 2 things with you a little bit. I talked a little bit about how I was exhausted because I was constantly in overwhelm. And I was constantly taking a lot of things on and not saying no and people pleasing and doing all these things that made me just feel like I had way too much on my plate. And this was a behavioral pattern that I had for a very long time in my life. I had always put way too much on my plate. There was always a lot. And from the outside, you may look like, I used to tell people, even if it's something healthy, like a plate full of strawberries, it could still be too many strawberries to where that plate is too heavy for you to carry. And that is kind of how I lived my life. I was doing it was things that I would want to do, but it was way too much than what I had the energy capacity to do. And so I felt drained and I felt overwhelmed and I felt heavy and weighted down a lot. And here's the thing. Disease and the body is so smart, and the body is a beautiful, loving organism on its own, and it beautifully reflects to us our energy. So one thing about kidney failure is when the kidneys stop working, you don't really produce a lot of urine. So what ends up happening is you have edema, where you take on a lot of water. Your body swells. So you're literally taking on too much water. And one of the things they do in dialysis, right before you get a treatment, they always weigh you to see how much you've gained, so they can see how much water and water weight they need to take off your body through the dialysis treatment. This was such an aha for me, because this is how I really began to see, because the thing about disease and illness is it's quite literal. If you really can take a step back and you can look at it, it is literally speaking to you. Your body is speaking. It is not trying to hide what's going on. It is trying to send you directly the message. I was taking too much on. And now I was literally taking too much on. Like I was holding too much. And it was causing my health to be bad. And this is another thing with kidney. When you have too much weight, it begins to affect the heart. It begins to shut down, cause some of the other organs to be overloaded. And so you really want to restrict. This is why a lot of times dialysis patients will have to, or kidney failure patients will really have to restrict how much water they drink or liquids they drink in, because they hold it. This is a direct message. I was holding too much. I was taking on too much. And that was a big part of my healing, was learning how to let go, learning how to rest more, learning how to put less on my plate, right? So this was a big part of how I manifested kidney failure, was going through this pattern of taking too much on, where I was overwhelmed and where I was heavy. And my energy couldn't hold that. What I mean by my energy couldn't hold that is I was taking more on that I could sustain an energy of being at peace, that I could sustain the energy of being at ease, because peace and ease are 2 facets of love energy. If you remember the love energy video I did, where I talked about the facets of love, peace and ease are 2 core facets of love energy. And so when you're disconnected from those for so long, and you can't be at peace and you can't be at ease when you're taking too much on, you're going to be disconnected from love. And and the body can't be healthy when it's disconnected from love. It needs love energy to run at its best. Love energy is literally the fuel that fuels health in the body. So that was one thing. The other part of this that I wanted to share in this video is the kidneys are the balancing system of the body. That's why we have two of them. We have two kidneys. They sit on either side of the body, and they don't just create urine, but they also filter the blood, and they keep the blood clean, and they keep the chemistry system of our body balanced. They keep things like the potassium and sodium level in the body balanced and other things like that. And so they balance our chemistry in our body. They keep the body balanced. This is something I learned in my journey after my near-death experience. I began to have mystical experiences and downloads from source, channel downloads from source, where I began to understand more about the concept of balance. And this is where I understood where I manifested kidney failure from, is I had been out of balance for a long time. Now, not just the chemistry, the biological chemistry of the body, but my energetic chemistry. And here's the things that are being out of balance. As a soul, we are, we have two aspects that make up kind of the wholeness of us. It is our ability to give and our ability to receive. And also, better said, our ability to love, to be loving, and to be loved. I was really, really, really out of balance with being able to receive and be loved. I was very good and very strong at loving others, giving of myself. This is why I never said no. I was a people pleaser. I was always saying yes. This is why I was always taking things on. I was giving of my time, my energy. I was an overgiver. My time, my resources, my energy, my money, in all of my relationships and all of the situations, I was always giving, but I never received. I wasn't receiving, I wasn't getting my needs met. I wasn't getting my dreams fulfilled. I wasn't doing the things that were really fun for me and that felt very pleasurable for me. I wasn't receiving joy. I was helping give other people joy, but I wasn't receiving it on my own. And so that left me highly, highly imbalanced, and the system has to be imbalanced. We're to be loved and to be loved. We are to give and receive. Not one is not better than the other. One is not more important to the other. They are equal. They're supposed to be in balance. They're like two sides of a coin. It's like you saying heads is better than tails on this coin. They're both part of the coin. The coin is the whole thing. Your whole soul is the wholeness of being loved and being loving. You can't just take one piece or another. And I was just operating in one piece. And you need wholeness to be healthy. You need wholeness to be healthy. And I was not whole because I was very poor, very weak, very lacking, very neglecting by my ability and my need to receive, my ability and my need to be loved. And that was a big aha for me, because that's how I had moved through all of my life. I was trained, you know, in my environment, in my culture, in my society, that giving is the thing. That's what makes you a nice person. That's what makes you a lovable person, is to give of yourself, but then you have nothing left for you. Your cup is empty. And I lived with an empty cup. And then I would further empty it by taking too much on, being overwhelmed, doing. And so I had just drained my energy system completely, and it had nothing left. And so the drain of the energy system, the light that came on in my system to say we are too low in fuel was kidney failure. And so that's what I learned about how I have manifested kidney failure. It was the other energies that I talked about in the last video, but it was also living a life where I was consistently out of balance. And healing kidney failure for me is the journey of learning how to be in balance, how to be loved just as much as I'm loving. As a matter of fact, probably a little bit more so, because when you're really out of balance, you have to kind of really strengthen the part that's really low. Like if this is a scale and big loved is over here and it's way down and being loving is up here, you kind of have to kind of focus up here till it kind of gets here. So that's kind of what my healing journey has been about, and learning about how to move through the world receiving, and how to move through the world being loved, and how to move through the world not taking so much on. So that's today's video. I hope this has helped you in some way. I'll give you an aha maybe in your own healing journey. I will continue this. There's so much more to talk about, and I've got even more things to share. So I'm looking forward to see you in the next video. Until then, I love you. Now go love yourself. Bye.